You're listening to Three Kitchens podcast, hosted by home cooks Erin Walker and Heather Dyer.
We're on a mission to inspire you to try something new. Let's all learn to cook better and eat great food. All right, well, hello and welcome to Three Kitchens podcast. I'm Erin Walker, and I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Heather Dyer.
Hello there.
Good day.
Good morning. Good day to you and everyone listening.
And everyone listening. Now, before we get into our recipe for the day, I want to ask if you have come across this most recent trend that I have come across that I think is ridiculous.
Oh boy. Which one? There's
Well,
so many.
There it is. This one's food specific. Have you heard of fridge-scaping?
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm glad I don't have to.
This came up in our comment section last week.
Oh, no
Our
way.
friend Kathy Barron asked if we had discussed fridge-scaping when we were discussing the art of clearing out the fridge to make dinner, like using up what
Oh.
you've got.
Right. Clean the fridge soup or
It's not the same.
fridge fallout. No.
Fridge fallout and eating up leftovers is not the same as fridge-scaping.
Well, okay, so I did not go through our comments and see that. This is totally serendipitous that I shall come across this independently. I came across a reel where this woman was showing her fridge scapes on Instagram, and I started, as you do, you get sucked into this with that look on your face,
What the
what?
fuck? What's
And then
going
your face
on?
just keeps getting worse as you keep watching it, and
Yeah. Luckily, you don't have to look at yourself. Well,
thank goodness. Yeah, I think someone walked in the kitchen and was like, is everything okay? And I'm like, oh yeah, everything's fine.
What happened? Some catastrophic news?
What kind of event happened here? No, someone is just putting pictures,
Oh, pictures.
plants, and this isn't just the organization of things to make it look extremely clean. This is making your fridge another room in your house that you can personalize through decor, if I can put it that way.
Right.
So this had, knickknacks on the shelf, a picture. I think it was a picture of their cat. Pictures in your fridge. I kind of love the idea of.
You should put a picture in your fridge of the cow. You know the cow
Oh,
that you butchered?
yeah.
Or
Well, I didn't personally butcher
That you
it, but
purchased from the farm that's in your freezer now? You should put a
well, she
picture of
sits up on the wall.
I know, but you could put it in your fridge.
She should be in the fridge. I should find a frame.
There you go. Are you kidding me?
know?
I can't even keep mine organized in the slightest, and definitely not clean. I don't know how
No.
people keep a clean fridge with no crumbs, no bits of parsley that have fallen in the corner of the crisper or whatever.
Some kid who's knocked something over and done a half-ass job of mopping up whatever spilt. Fantastic. Okay. Well, I'm glad that we could have a chat about this because when I come across these ridiculous foodie things,
Oh, there's so many. Can we talk about these things more?
oh, yeah,
Like in future episodes? I remember
absolutely.
at some point we stopped kind of doing a little
Yeah.
fun story at the beginning.
Yeah, sometimes we jump right into it, but I was like, no, we need to talk about cat pictures in our fridge.
Okay, listeners, let us know. Do you like hearing a little story at the beginning, or is it like, no, just get straight to the recipe? Let us know.
There you
Maybe
go.
someone will.
Maybe we'll listen to you. Maybe we won't.
Or maybe we'll do our own thing. What we should do at the top is okay, we're about to tell a little story, so skip ahead
If you don't want to hear that.
30 seconds or whatever it is. Yeah, if you want to get straight to the recipe.
Well, this recipe has nothing to do with fridge scaping, but I guess you could keep these ingredients in your fridge in a really fancy way.
Okay.
So I would like to make something called buffalo tofu cutlets.
Oh, that's an interesting combination of words.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because I said those three words.
I know buffalo and I know tofu. I don't quite know how cutlets are created out of tofu. So
There
I'm
you go.
curious. Yeah.
So I came across a reel on Instagram and they're slicing up some firm tofu and they're creating a marinade for it and then they're breading it and then baking it and dipping it in like buffalo wing sauce. And it looks like a little cutlet that you would get that is breaded and fried like you would for like
It's
a chicken breast if you
like,
wanted to make
or like katsu. It
or
sounds a bit like
yeah,
katsu or schnitzel or
yeah,
except
exactly.
those things you fry, right? You
You
don't
fry
bake.
them, you don't bake them. So this one is kind of going around all of those thoughts and ideas, but with tofu. And I know that over the summer, Heather and I both expressed like, I would love to know what more I could make with some of these meat alternatives.
Right. I
So
hear
I,
mixed reviews of alternative meat products, right? Like
yeah,
veggie, ground veggie stuff and
yeah, I would be interested in just finding what I can do with some of these things like tofu or
hmm
using soy-based stuff just a little bit differently, change it up.
yeah.
Find out about cooking with them because it's something that is not in my wheelhouse at all. I look at the tofu and I'm like, what you do with that?
I know. I enjoy tofu
I do
when it's
too.
done well. And I think I like the firm tofu, the texture of it better. But
Hmm.
I'd be interested in like different preparations of tofu because I've seen some where it's soft, almost like a pudding, it looks like the way they kind of scoop it. And I think, oh, looks good,
That's
maybe.
interesting.
I mean, I think there's lots of things you can do with tofu.
Yeah, no kidding. So I'm
Mm,
going to give this a run around the block and see what we think of it.
sounds good.
It seems pretty simple. This one is a totally vegan recipe. I might not go that far with it. We'll see what kind of ingredients I can gather.
So the buffalo aspect of it, is that like the store-bought buffalo sauce or is it from scratch?
So it says, yeah, buffalo sauce, like
Okay.
store bought. I'll play around with that a bit because I have some preferences that I like when it comes to a fried chicken. Like buffalo sauce is good, but it's also kind of like scary.
What do you mean
It's
scary?
like that bright orange, like, is this even
What's in here?
real? Am I eating neon? So we'll see.
I also think you have to doctor it up a little bit. In my
Yeah.
experience, I think it's better if it's got butter in it to kind of like, I don't know what it does to it. It makes it creamier. I don't know. I
Okay.
think you have to, it's fine on its own, but it's not like, this is amazing.
That's
Yeah.
where I'm kind of going to riff off of this. So it
hmm
might not exactly be buffalo sauce that I dip it in at the end, because at the end of the day, you can really dip this in anything at the end just to
Yeah.
coat it before you serve it, because it's after you fry it that you add the sauce. So I don't know, it
Or
could be a
bake
little
it.
bit dealer's choice. Who
hmm
knows? I don't know exactly what I'll do. And then this one also has a nice slaw made
Oh,
with
yum.
celery. And I think that just sounds crunchy and creamy and spicy and a whole bunch of textures and flavors that I think will just come together to be good.
This almost sounds like something you could put in a sandwich.
Oh, I
Like
bet
how
you
you'd get like a
could.
fried chicken sandwich with the sauce and the coleslaw and everything, and it's all kind of in a bun. I bet you could do that with this. Assuming the
Interesting.
tofu kind of holds up to
Yeah.
eating it with your hands like that.
Yeah, this
We'll
one they've
see.
just kind of got it, video shows it sliced and then
Yeah.
just placed on a plate with like a yogurt kind of sauce on the bottom and then this slaw on top and then you just kind of
Oh, you could do blue cheese if you're doing buffalo.
yeah, I know. Like this is where I'm like, I don't know if I'm
Mm.
gonna go vegan because I feel like
Yeah.
some cheese needs to come into this whole equation. So,
Mm. I think you could go lots of ways with it. Sounds
yeah.
yummy.
So I've got some fun flavors to play with and a new main course item for us. Tofu.
Maybe I will eventually convince the family of Meatless Monday. So far, my efforts have gone, they get
Yeah.
met with like, no, Not good
Yes.
enough protein. They're
Oh,
meat
yeah.
lovers over here,
I
tell you.
know. Our house too. If they catch a whiff that it's going to be meatless, there is a rather intense verbal onslaught.
Hey, beach lover. Is the beach calling out to you right now? Do you love listening to the soothing sound of ocean waves and breathing in the salty air? Do you love the feeling of sand between your toes and the warm tropical breeze on your skin? If so, grab a cool drink, relax in your beach chair, and tune in to The Beach Speaks, the podcast that shares stories about the beach and our connection to it. Join me, Paige Friend, your host and fellow beach lover, in listening to engaging conversations with guests including authors and artists, entrepreneurs and travel experts, all with a deep connection to the beach. You'll also hear some personal stories of my own beach adventures that will inspire you to reconnect with the beach, return to your soul, and reimagine your life. New episodes are released bi-weekly wherever you enjoy your podcasts. The beach is speaking. Are you listening?
I want to talk about this buffalo tofu that I made. But I feel like it needs to have a better name because it tells you nothing in that title.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a breaded cutlet of tofu dipped in a buffalo sauce. Is that a better way to put it?
Yeah, I guess. It's more descriptive. Sometimes when I hear buffalo, my mind goes to buffalo mozzarella. I don't know why. Not like we eat that.
What is buffalo mozzarella? Is it just from buffalo milk?
I believe so.
Oh.
It was a big thing in Italy when I was there.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know if buffalo sauce is always like a known, is it recognizable? If you just said buffalo sauce, does everybody know what that is?
I don't know. And I definitely did not make or have or buy buffalo sauce. I just kind of
Oh.
threw together what I had in my pantry. So
Oh, I'm
it
very
was
curious.
definitely a bit of a, well, that's orange. I'm sure it will go.
No. Well, I hope you wrote this down because
I somewhat wrote it down, but it was more of a glug, 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 glug situation.
no.
And ta-da!
Oh.
So let's start out with talking about how to prepare this.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was a 350-gram brick of extra firm tofu. You want to slice it so that you end up with 4 slabs of tofu. And what I did was I just popped those into a pan, and you want to marinate them with 2 tablespoons of soy sauce and the juice from half a lemon.
Mm.
So you want to zest your lemon, chop it in half, and then use half of your lemon to marinate your delicious little tofu slab. They say a minimum of 10 minutes. I rotated mine a couple times in the pan, and I'll bet you they marinated almost an hour because I was doing other stuff, and you know how our brains work when it comes to these things. Oh yeah, I got that tofu marinating.
Oh yeah.
I gotta do that.
The way my brain works with any marinade, I'm always like, longer's better anyway, so it'll be
That's
good.
what I feel. I was like, I want this to be flavorful because I've had tofu before that tastes like nothing. So I was like, we want this in time. And so I could actually see on the edges where the marinade had gone into the tofu because it was dark colored soy sauce, right? So you've got your 3 bowls of a flour, an egg, and then your breadcrumb mixture that you are coating this in before you pop it in the oven and bake it. So you're not pan frying it, you're baking it. In your first plate, your flour mixture is all-purpose flour, paprika, and garlic powder, and then a bit of salt. So mix that up and then set it aside. That'll be the first dish that your tofu will get dipped into. And then an egg beaten up. And then your breadcrumb coating is panko breadcrumbs, Parmesan cheese, and then this is where your lemon zest goes into as well, into this breaded coating, which, good idea. And this recipe that I riffed off of was making it totally vegan because that's not a requirement for us. I thought I would just go with making this vegetarian I guess. Are cheeses and eggs still considered vegetarian?
I think.
I was just kind of
So.
modifying it as I would because it doesn't need to be completely vegan for me. I'm not trying to go 100% plant-based, but you can with this if that's what you desire. I just sort of back substituted things that I would normally use if I was going to coat and fry like a piece of chicken.
Okay, what would be the vegan substitute for an egg for breading tofu?
So their recommendation for the egg part was to do 2 tablespoons of plain yogurt and a half a cup of plant-based milk, so soy or almond milk.
What kind of yogurt? Plant-based?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder what the difference is the way it sticks. Egg is super sticky. I think that's part of
kind of
why
acts
you
as
use
glue,
it,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just, instead of going down the road of buying all these ingredients that I wouldn't typically have in my house and that I'm not sure how well they would work, I thought, I'm just going to do this sort of, I just want to find a way to cook tofu. It doesn't have to be vegan.
Right.
Is what I'm feeling anyway. So once you've got these 3 containers, you want to take your a single slab of tofu out of the marinade and just kind of drip it off and pop it into your flour, coat it on all sides. Have a wet hand and a dry hand is the advice for when you're coating anything. So you're kind of, you don't end up with as much breading on your fingers or more than what's going onto your slab of meat or your tofu in this case. So once you've got it covered in your flour and spice mixture, you pop it into your egg and get it wet all over, and then pop it into your breadcrumb, Parmesan and lemon zest mixture and coat it, and then just pop it onto a sheet pan covered with parchment because these are just going to get baked in the oven. So once you've done it for all 4 of your little slabs of tofu, it says to spray with like a baking oil. I don't have baking oil in a spray can, so I just drizzled some olive oil over both sides, and then it bakes in a 425-degree oven for 15 minutes on one side, and then you flip it and do 10 minutes on the other side. And then when you take it out, you dip it in your quote-unquote buffalo sauce. I'm using those air quotes generously today because I don't think this qualifies as buffalo sauce. I didn't even look to see what buffalo sauce is. I just thought to myself, ooh, I love like a spicy pepper sauce, and I have some cholula in my fridge, and I just freaking love that. Have you had that before?
I have not, but I just came across it in a recipe recently, and I had to Google it because I didn't know what it was.
I originally bought it because it has a cute wooden cap on the top of it. Yeah.
Cute.
It is fantastic on chicken wings. Like when I make chicken wings, I douse it in that stuff. Oh, it's so good. But I thought like this, so the sauce you're going to make is supposed to be half a cup of buffalo sauce and then 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. So it's kind of like sweet and spicy.
Okay. Usually when I make chicken wings with buffalo sauce, I always put melt butter into the sauce. And I thought that was like a thing you do with buffalo. I don't know where I came up with that or heard about it, but I thought that was how you prepare buffalo sauce.
This is the blind wings. Leading the blind in buffalo sauce. We know absolutely nothing.
I'm Googling right now. So when you tell me what you put in yours, I'll tell you what supposedly is supposed to go into it.
Okay.
We'll see how close you got.
So from a previous episode, I had some harissa sauce sitting in my fridge that was tasty but had no spice to it. I had my 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I put about half a cup, third of a cup of harissa sauce, and then I just put as much cholula until I thought it tasted good.
Oh, so
I'm going to say, yeah, it was not that much stuff, but it was definitely not buffalo sauce.
Well, I thought it tasted like buffalo sauce.
Oh, good. Fake
Didn't
it till
you?
you make it late. I thought it was great. I don't really know. I mean, the last time I had buffalo sauce, I was probably like in university and drunk. So I really don't know.
Oh, okay. My kids are like buffalo chicken wing crazy. So
see, and I live in the Cholula land.
Well, let me tell you what just a quick Google tells me goes into buffalo sauce. So a hot pepper sauce like Frank's Red Hot,
Okay.
which is I think what not everybody, that's what I always thought it was made of. That's what I put butter into, and that call it good.
Ooh.
This also says butter, white vinegar, Worcestershire sauce, cayenne pepper, garlic powder, and salt to taste. So this is a little more involved.
Okay. That's definitely not the dump and go that I was working
No,
with.
but
It worked.
it's a little more involved. But I totally thought that I would have sworn there was Frank's Red Hot in that sauce you put on that tofu.
And see, cholula is like a vinegar, spicy red pepper kind of sauce. So it's very similar to a Frank's Red Hot sauce. It's just a different recipe.
Yeah, that's all you need.
There you go.
Oh, so good. So whichever way you make it.
Yeah. So I'll write this down because everyone should just go buy the Tastes of Tunisia harissa sauce from President's Choice.
Oh, okay.
That's all it was. All right. So once you dip those little slabs in this sauce, when I served it up, I just put it back onto my cutting board and sliced it into little pieces. While this was cooking, you just make a quick celery slaw to serve this on. So it was celery sticks, yogurt, olive oil, garlic powder, onion powder, minced fresh dill, and minced fresh parsley. So just a really simple little slaw, which I thought complemented this great because the celery was so crunchy and the coolness of the yogurt with the spiciness in the chicken or in the tofu. Yum, yum, yum. I was like, wow, I think I could pull this over on my kids. We'll see.
It was so good. And I love that salad too. I thought it was the perfect thing to just eat it all together. Like you gave it to me on top of the salad. The tofu was on the top, and I just got my fork in there and like scooped it all up together. Oh, so good.
Every bite had to have a little slice of tofu and a little bit of salad and munch, munch, munch. Yeah.
Oh, delicious.
Wasn't this
And
good?
that little slip there where you said chicken, it was very similar texture to chicken. Similar, not the same exactly, but it's like
it was soft and juicy, and it wasn't dry, and it didn't have like the blandness that I have found from before. Because often in other recipes where we've made tofu before, which is very few, you want all the moisture out of your tofu. So you've got like the whole plate sitting and weighted and pressing out everything before you fry it so that the outside becomes nice and golden and crispy. And that method is just, I always feel like the tofu's kind of at the end because it doesn't have any moisture and it's not really, I don't know.
So for this recipe, what tofu are you looking for when you're shopping? You may have said in the first half, but I can't remember.
No, that's okay. It was extra firm tofu.
Okay. Because there's different ones,
there are
right?
different firmnesses. Yeah. I've never come across a recipe that tells me to use a soft tofu. I can't think of one.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I don't cook really tofu, but I want to make this.
So
yummy. Such a nice alternative if you wanted. It also reminded me a bit of fish. Like it was.
Oh, yeah.
Like my kids really love a breaded white fish.
Yeah.
Just like a breaded chicken strip or something. And I think this could just go right into that rotation of breaded, baked
items,
proteins.
Yeah.
That you could put any kind of sauce with. It would be great too with like a barbecue sauce or.
So I would hazard, and I clearly haven't done this yet, but I think this would be really good if you made this and then at the end, instead of doing the buffalo sauce, if you had a Caesar salad dressing and you dipped this into like a Caesar salad dressing and sliced it up and served it like you would a Caesar, like make chicken Caesar salad, but with tofu. I think you could get away with doing that. I think you could do the same buffalo thing and like put it on a burger bun with coleslaw and make like a fried chicken sandwich type deal. I feel like this is kind of flexible to however you would normally eat a breaded fried chicken breast, but tofu styles. And change up whatever sort of seasoning and sauce.
Do it like the fish and put it with fries and tartar sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Would be good.
Yeah.
Lemon on
and the
all that.
lemon in there. Or I was even wondering if you could get away with making this in like a souvlaki kind of way because you're marinating, if you marinate it with like the oregano and the lemon and the garlic. I wonder if you could kind of do a similar type flavor in there.
It would be good on just like a Mediterranean plate.
Yeah.
With Greek salad and tabbouleh and some hummus and pita bread on the side. Oh God, so many things you could do with it. So yummy.
Yeah. And I almost wonder, could I do chicken parmesan? But
yeah, it just has to stand up to being cooked in the sauce.
Maybe you could get away with it.
I don't know enough about like how long is too long to cook it. You know what I mean? Like what happens? Does it just sort of dry out, or what happens to it if you cooked it too long?
Yeah. That's
know.
a good question.
Maybe nothing. Maybe it holds up and it's good. Maybe the extra firm is what, very forgiving.
It could be. It could be. This was really fun.
It was so good. Oh, I ate way too much of it at once because I was so stuffed.
Yeah, I was pretty hungry by the time this finally hit my plate, and it was delightful. I was so happy. I ate the first serving before I came and delivered yours, and then I ran home and it just kept going.
I shared with my husband and he was like, "Oh, what did Erin make?" And he's over there looking in there, and then he's like, "Oh, tofu. I don't think I like tofu." And I'm like, "Well, you don't have to eat it then," because I had already tasted it. And I was like, "I don't need to share this. I don't care if you don't want to eat." And he's like, "Well, let me taste it." And then he ended up eating like half a piece. And then he's like, "Oh, okay, well, you could eat the rest, I guess."
So he does eat tofu.
I know. He liked it.
Fun stuff.
Good job.
I enjoyed this. This was a good step outside of the regular for us.
Yeah. So if anyone listening maybe is like unfamiliar with cooking tofu like us, now you have a good starter recipe to give it a try.
If you're working on adjusting what kind of meat proteins you're eating, this is a good first step.
Meatless Monday, but you might fool your family into thinking it's meat. And now for the fine print. For links to recipes and many other random things we talked about in this episode, check out the show notes or our website, www.threekitchenspodcast.com. Join us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, YouTube, and TikTok to see what we're cooking up next. And if you love the show, tell a friend. Word of mouth is the #1 way people learn about new podcasts. Thanks for listening.
Does this even have meat in it? Mom, I need my protein.